Okay, so now we're going to talk about complex numbers and what it really means, because you might have a real number plus an imaginary number. A complex number in standard form is written like this. You might have a real part, so you might have 3, plus an imaginary part, so 2i. The 3 is the real number, 2i is the imaginary number. Okay? If my b is not equal to 0, so like this example here, my b is not 0, then I'm going to call this an imaginary number. Okay, now let's say b is still not equal to 0, but a is 0. So let's say I just have 2i. I'm going to call that a pure imaginary number because there's no real part in there. Okay, now the coolest thing that you guys are really going to like, when I find the sum and differences of these complex numbers, I'm just combining like terms. That's it. You just need to make sure that you write it as your real number plus or minus the imaginary. We want it in that same structure. So let's look at a here. Let's combine like terms. We can get rid of the parentheses. It's just a positive sign or an addition sign in the middle, so don't have to worry about distributing a negative. So this is like 8 minus I plus 5 plus 4i. Let's combine like terms. We'll combine our numbers first because we know the real number goes first. So 8 plus 5 gives me 13. Now let's combine the imaginary part. Negative I plus 4i. Think of that I as just x. So that leaves us with plus 3i. Okay, now we're good. That's your answer. Now b. b has a negative in the middle. Excuse me, a subtraction sign in the middle. So we have to be careful that we're going to distribute that subtraction sign in the parentheses. So I'm going to distribute it to the 3, and I distribute it to the negative 6i. So negative times a negative gives you a positive 6i. Now we combine like terms. 7 minus 3 gives me 4. Oh, look what happens here. Negative 6i plus 6i. Cancels, so my answer is 4. Here are a little bit more steps. We are still going to distribute that negative, so we go 10 minus 6. Then that negative also goes to that 7i, minus 7i, plus 4i. This one's kind of nice. It's already organized for us. 10 minus 6, those are real numbers. They go together. Negative 7i plus 4i are imaginary numbers, so they go together. And I'm done. Easy. All we're doing is combining like terms. Just don't forget to distribute the negative. We'll do that in class. Okay, last thing is we want to multiply complex numbers. All you're doing is you're thinking of it as a variable. Seriously, that's it. So we have a term outside of parentheses. We're going to distribute that term. So 4i times negative 6 gives me negative 24i. 4i times a positive I. Think of it as x. That gives me 4i squared. Oh, we know something. I squared is equal to negative 1. So we want to make sure that we replace that. You should not have any I squareds in your final answer. So we're going to go negative 24i plus 4 times negative 1. That leaves me with negative 24i minus 4. Now I just need to make sure I get it into the regular standard form. Real number first. So this goes in front. So I get negative 4 minus 24i. That's my answer. It's just thinking of it as a variable. That's it. Except if you get an I squared, replace that with negative 1. Now here, we got 2 sets of parentheses, so we're definitely going to use FOILing here. So we're going to multiply our first terms. 9 times negative 4 gives me negative 36. I think. Yes. Okay. Then we're going to do our outside terms. 9 times 7 gives me a positive 63i. Okay. middle terms, we're going to go negative 2i times a negative 4 gives me a positive 8i. Notice, guys, when you multiply a number times I, it follows the same properties as x. They just combine together. You combine those coefficients. And then the last terms, negative 2i times 7i gives me a negative 14i squared. So let's combine a little bit. We get negative 36. We get plus 71i minus 14i squared. Then, technically we're done. However, we have an I squared here. So we want to replace that according to our definition with negative 1. So negative 36 plus 71i minus 14 times I squared, which we know is negative 1. Okay, so negative 36 plus 71i plus 14. Now we're going to combine like terms. Here we get, we're going to get a negative 12. No, we're going to get, and this is where teachers sometimes need to, there we go, 22. Yep, negative 22 plus 71i. Very good. So now we know how to multiply complex numbers. We know that it's just like a variable, and we just have to do that extra little step of replacing it with negative 1. So again, if you need to see this again, please rewind or see it again and take some good notes. Thank you.